Skies make for a warm day today, but a cold front is expected tomorrow. I'll show you how isolated showers could affect your weekend plans.
More lockdowns. 2 more Wake County schools go on lockdown this morning, making it one for every day this week. WRAL looks into how and why this is happening so frequently. Prices rising. A new report on inflation today shows the biggest hike in 4 years. We'll break down what the numbers mean and when we can get relief at the pump. The warming begins today and temperatures will climb this weekend. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Ken Smith. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is here to show us how warm it will get and when we could jump into the 90s, Amy.
That's right. That's coming next week. It is going to feel like summertime. It's comfortable today, though. Take a look at this. A beautiful blue sky over downtown Raleigh. It is gorgeous outside, but it is warming up. We have a southerly wind, and that's warming us into the 60s, almost 70 now in Cary. 69 there, 69 in Durham as well. It's 68 in Fayetteville, 65 in Garner with tons of sunshine. So right now, compared to this time yesterday, it's 14 degrees warmer. So it certainly feels different today compared to yesterday. 10 degrees warmer right now in Southern Pines, 13 degrees warmer up in South Hill, Virginia. Temperatures will continue to climb for a bit. We'll have tons of sunshine. If you have outdoor plans today, what a treat. Temperatures climb into the mid to upper 70s this afternoon. 78 for the high temperature in Durham and in Raleigh, 79 for the high temperature in Fayetteville. I mentioned the 90s. We have not hit 90 degrees yet this year. We got close. We hit 89 in March, but we have a forecast high of 91 on Wednesday. The record is 92. So the summer heat is near. It's going to be with us next week. It's going to be warming up this weekend, but high pressure keeps us dry through the day today. We really need the rain. We might get some. This is a weak front that's going to move through Saturday night. It's not going to bring us cooler temperatures. In fact, it's just going to keep warming up this weekend, but it could bring us a stray shower or two. I'll have the timing with this coming up in just a bit.
Amy, thank you. Schools in our viewing area have been placed on a lockdown in response to a significant threat every day this week. Police have found most of those to be not credible, but it's still raising questions on why threats are happening so frequently. Just this morning, East Gardner Magnet Middle School was under a code red for about 15 minutes. That's where we find WRAL's Bailey Stamos with why the school went into lockdown this morning. Bailey.
Yeah, East Gardner was placed under a lockdown, a brief lockdown, just before students arrived today around 7 a.m. But we've since learned from Garner police that this was because of a report of a male with a gun in his hand in the area. An officer tells me they did confirm a person matching that description did pass by the school, but that they did not approach school grounds. Investigators are still working to identify that person, but they say there's no threat to students or the public at this time. Green Hope Elementary in Cary was also placed on a lockdown this morning, a code yellow to be exact. Now, we do know code yellows represent a threat in the area, but we're still waiting to hear back from law enforcement on what exactly led up to that lockdown. Bailey Stamos, WRAL News in Garner.
Thank you. Green Hope Elementary School is now operating normally after a code yellow lockdown this morning. Parents were notified that police were in the area, but that all students were safe. And a message assured parents and caregivers that there was no imminent threat on campus. Cary police gave the all clear 9:15 this morning.
A man accused of killing his longtime housekeeper is due in court today, and WRAL will be there. Matthew Vukmer is now being held at the Orange County Detention Center with no bond. Vukmer was arrested in Grayson County, Virginia, just across the line from North Carolina. He's charged with first-degree murder. Orange County deputies say he stabbed Paula Floyd in the Wingate community, which is southeast of Hillsborough. A motive for the killing is not clear. Pakistan tightening security ahead of high-stakes talks between the United States and Iran set to begin this weekend. Authorities have cleared streets in Islamabad and declared a 2-day public holiday as American and Iranian delegations arrive for their first face-to-face negotiations since this war began. Now, a fragile 2-week ceasefire is holding for now, but growing tensions threaten to derail the talks. Vice President J.D. Vance says he's looking forward to a positive negotiation, but warned Tehran not to try to play us. His words.
Inflation surged last month, increasing 0.9%. That's 3 times the amount seen in February. Nearly all of the increase can be traced to high gas prices. WRAL's Elizabeth Holmes joining us now with how the war on Iran is contributing to inflation here at home.
Well, right now, AAA says that the average gas price here in North Carolina is $3.93. You can see behind me at a gas station off of New Bern Avenue near in Raleigh, it's nearly $4. And that is increasing the prices of everything that you can get at the store, at least almost everything. The new consumer price index that dropped this morning said that the overall price of things increased by 3.3%. There was a 21.2% increase in price of gas, and the Labor Department says that accounts for nearly 3/4 of the overall increase for price of goods. Now, that's because gas is needed to move so many things across the globe. There is some good news. The report said that the price of poultry, eggs, fish did go down. The price of vegetables and fruit did increase by about a percentage point. Now, when it comes to gas prices, Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says that we could actually see a little bit of relief this weekend because of the talks of a ceasefire with the war on Iran. But with so much volatility at the Strait of Hormuz, there's still a lot to be left to be seen.
And all of this really from the oil market perspective and what you and I pay at the gas pump or the diesel pump all has to do with the Strait. If it continues to essentially be blocked by Iran, we're going to continue to see oil prices go up because the Strait of Hormuz on a normal day would carry 20 million barrels or 20% of the world's daily flow of oil. And the longer it remains essentially closed, the longer the world is being choked off of 20 million barrels of oil that are needed every day.
Now, the demand of gas, of course, normally goes up around the spring and summer when a lot of people are traveling. Now, DeHaan said that if there is no clear opening of the Strait of Hormuz, gas prices could hit a historic high. Of course, it is very volatile right now. So, again, it's hard to predict at this point. In Raleigh, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, WRAL News.
The government's new food pyramid could tack on more than $1,000 to your yearly grocery bill. That's a 32% jump. The U.S. Department of Agriculture updated its dietary guidelines at the beginning of the year. The USDA basically flipped previous recommendations and now suggests that proteins, dairy foods, healthy fats, and fruits and vegetables be the largest portion of a diet.
I'm Kirsten Clark in the WRAL Live Center. I want to make you aware of a slowdown that we're watching on I-40. This is I-40 West near exit 287. That's the North Harrison Avenue exit. You can see this slowdown here. There was a crash earlier just before 11:30 this morning. Two of the center lanes were closed about 20 minutes ago. They reopened, but you can still see a law enforcement vehicle on the shoulder here. So you can see there's still a significant slowdown, lots of brake lights here. So if you have to go this way, just something to be aware of. Also a good time to remind you of the state's move over law. When you see a law enforcement vehicle on the shoulder there, get over or slow down as you're approaching. So we'll keep an eye on this as things continue to clear up.
Kirsten, thanks. Well, the historic Artemis II mission reaching its final hours ahead of a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. The Orion spacecraft and 4 astronauts on board are scheduled to return to Earth some 50 miles off San Diego's coastline. NBC's Brooke Martell is on Coronado Island. That's where the crew will be taken before heading to Johnson Space Center.
The USS John P. Murtha has been out in the Pacific since the start of this week, and this naval ship really plays an integral role in the recovery. But you can imagine the anticipation, not just here in San Diego, but really around the globe as we wait for the Orion spacecraft to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, parachutes deployed to bring the astronauts safely back to Earth. And NASA says once this mission is complete, that the Orion spacecraft will have traveled nearly 700,000 miles. And at the start of this week, you'll recall the 7-hour lunar flyby that marked the first return to the moon since Apollo 17 in 1972. And that leg of the journey provided a look at the moon's far side and set a new record for human spaceflight. And now the crew is on their way home. Early this evening, before it re-enters Earth's atmosphere, NASA says there will be a 6-minute communication blackout with the astronauts. But once it's regained, a series of parachute deployments will begin bringing the capsule down to a speed of nearly 20 miles per hour before splashdown. And within 2 hours of splashing down, Navy divers and medical personnel will be some of the first to make contact with the astronauts to get them out of the capsule, hoisted onto Navy helicopters, and they'll then be flown back to the USS John P. Murtha for further medical evaluations. And NASA says once they're cleared from that, they'll be flown back here, where they're expected to board a plane to Houston to take them back to NASA's Johnson Space Center. In San Diego, I'm Brooke Martell. Back to you.
Oh, what an amazing few days in space. Now, we've got you covered. You can watch Artemis 2 return to Earth tonight on WRAL, as well as our WRAL YouTube page. Coverage begins at 7:30.
The Chapel Hill Carrboro School Board approved more than a dozen job cuts. During a work session last night, the board voted to slash 19 positions for the upcoming school year. Superintendent Rodney Trice initially proposed 22 staff reductions, including several mental health specialists. The cuts are expected to save the district nearly $2 million as it faces a decline in enrollment and funding shortages. Trice says employees affected by the cuts may be placed in other district roles.
Well, lots more to share with you here in the noon hour. Fake assault. A teacher is accused of faking an injury and blaming a student. The charges she is facing after the hoax triggered a lockdown of the Houston area high school.
Active volcano. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupts again. Why this spectacular display of nature's fury prompted an emergency response as a precaution.
And Banana Ball, the famed Savannah Bananas in Chapel Hill this weekend. Your guide to navigating in and around UNC's Keenan Stadium.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
A Texas teacher is accused of making up an attack that prompted a school lockdown. The school district says the 53-year-old woman activated a school-issued panic alarm Thursday morning. The move triggered a lockdown and law enforcement rushed to the high school. The sheriff's office said they were initially told a student attacked her, but later determined her injury was self-inflicted with a razor blade.
Sheriff's Office takes all these law enforcement matters seriously when it relates to schools, and we hold adults just as much as we hold children responsible for calling in fake threats to schools.
The Houston teacher is charged with making a false report and tampering with evidence.
An independent review found no malicious intent at this year's BAFTA Awards ceremony. A man yelled the N-word as Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented an award on stage. The person who used a racial slur was identified as John Davidson, a Tourette syndrome activist. The study found there were no weaknesses in the organization's planning and response procedures, but revealed no institutional racism. BAFTA says work is already underway to address recommendations in the future. And in review, music fans, B-boys and B-girls around the world are mourning the death of a man known as the godfather of hip-hop. Iconic DJ and rapper Africa Bambaataa died at his sleep on Thursday. Bambaataa gained popularity in 1982 with the song Planet Rock. He also founded Universal Zulu Nation, an international hip-hop awareness group. Bambaataa was 68 years old.
7 people tied to last year's deadly fireworks explosions in California are now in police custody. The arrests include the owner of Devastating Pyrotechnics, along with his wife. Investigators say illegal fireworks were being stored at the site of the deadly July 1st explosion. 7 employees died. While Devastating Pyrotechnics obtained federal and state permits, it did not have a local use permit or business license. In Russia, 5 of 7 hikers have been found alive after getting lost in a blizzard earlier this week. The hikers disappeared 3 days ago after setting out on a trek. The group did not have tents nor a satellite phone. The survivors were evacuated by helicopters and handed over to medics. All 5 show signs of severe frostbite. Sadly, 2 Russian tourists died.
Kilauea put on a spectacular display during its 44th eruption episode in Hawaii. The event prompted evacuations and park closures for safety concerns after chunks of volcanic rocks the size of softballs fell nearby. Linnea Richardson spoke with visitors who saw the eruption.
The sounds of the eruption are like a constant roar of the ocean. Visitors were amazed by this force of nature they've never seen before.
It's just so alive, you know, and powerful.
This is a pretty amazing one. A lot of tephra, but it's falling away from us, fortunately, and we're staying on the safe side.
Less than 5 miles away is Volcano School of Arts and Sciences, forced to evacuate more than 300 students after 2 previous lava evacuation events where debris and rocks rained down on the school.
This is our second time evacuating. Basically, today what happened was that because of the road closures, we went ahead and we had to evacuate for that reason. But we have been watching the volcano and, bubbling up in the dome. And
it's a spectacular event, but we want to make sure that our students and staff are safe.
Volcanoes National Park shut down along with parts of Highway 11, causing a traffic jam. So horseback riders and hikers tried to see if they could get a view. Despite the potential danger, people here have a respect for the eruptive force at Kilauea.
It's really phenomenal. I mean, it's a whole different thing being up here.
This episode began around 11 o'clock yesterday morning and ended around 7:30 last night. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, most lava fountaining episodes since December 23, 2024 have continued for a day or less. Well, let's get over to meteorologist Amy Wilmoth, tracking an early start to the morning. But things are going to warm up this weekend, Amy.
Outside, you'll see that beautiful blue sky. It's gorgeous outside. We do have a cold front that's headed our way, but it's not going to change our temperatures. It's going to start to fizzle out as it arrives tomorrow, but it might bring us a little bit of rain. And I say might because it's just a 20% chance that we'll see a shower late on Saturday. Most of you are going to stay dry, but let's show you the latest version of Futurecast. This is Saturday morning, and it's going to be nice and quiet. Most of the day is nice and quiet, and I really think most of you stay dry. This is Saturday at 5:15 in the evening. Notice a couple of spotty showers up to the north. And then as we head toward 8 p.m., a couple of hit and miss showers will be possible, but not everybody gets the rain. And then at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, still a couple of spotty showers. So rain chances are low. And it's not going to add up to much. Even if you do get some rain, it's going to be less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. So not very helpful with our drought situation. We need a lot of rain to end the drought. Within a month, we need anywhere from about 7 to 9 inches of rain. And there's no big weather maker headed our way that's going to provide us with that rain. So it looks pretty bleak with the drought. In fact, we just have a 1 to 2% chance at ending the drought within the next month. So things are going to get worse before they get better for us. I imagine next week, next Thursday, when we get another update, it's not going to look good across our state. This is a live look at Chapel Hill. This is going to be a busy spot this weekend with Savannah Bananas. I think it's going to be pretty nice weather for those baseball games. Maybe a shower tomorrow evening, but it's really not a big deal. Lots of sunshine today, and it feels pretty nice outside. It's 67 in South Hill, 66 in Roxborough, 68 in Fayetteville, 66 in Rocky Mount. And temperatures continue to climb today. 78 for the high in Raleigh and Durham, 79 for the high temperature in Fayetteville this afternoon. This evening, if you're headed out and about, it is going to be fantastic weather. We're still in the 70s at 7 o'clock, 71 degrees, down into the 60s by 8 p.m. And then by 11 o'clock tonight, we're down into the upper 50s. And it'll be comfortably cool tonight. We'll get down into the upper 40s and lower 50s overnight tonight. Weekend warming, 83 for the high on Saturday. The normal high this time of year is 71. So we're well above that number. Same thing Sunday. Lots of sunshine, a high of 82. 84 on Monday, 89 on Tuesday. And then here comes some summer-like weather Wednesday and Thursday. Highs are in the low 90s. We could either tie or break record highs as we head into Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
All right, Amy, thanks. Coming up this afternoon, military strike claim. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren claims no American president has ordered more military strikes against as many different countries as President Trump. We fact check her statement at 4.
Then at 6, banning books. A North Carolina lawmaker says he is drafting a bill to expand book restrictions in elementary school libraries. How he plans to punish districts that don't comply. Still to come in this hour. Bizzell steamer recall. Why the company is warning customers to stop using this brand of steamer on your screen, and the number of injuries linked to the steamer.
Also, surging pet bills, the length some pet owners are going to care for their furry friends, and why some are turning to AI. Sue.
Welcome back. Jury deliberations are underway in the Live Nation antitrust trial. Dozens of state attorneys general accuse the company and its subsidiary Ticketmaster of illegally monopolizing live concerts, citing exclusive long-term contracts, high ticketing fees, and complaints from artists. The federal government struck a separate settlement with the company last month. Bizzell is recalling millions of steam cleaners due to burn risks. The recall involves nearly 2 million of their Steam Shot Omni Reach and Bizzell's Steam Shot Omni steam cleaners with attachments. The attachments can unexpectedly detach from the main unit and splash users with hot water or steam. The company has received 161 reports of burn injuries, including a second-degree burn. People should immediately stop using the steam cleaner attachments. We have more information about the recalled products and other recent recalls on our website. Go to WRAL.com, search the word recall.
While vet bills are steadily increasing, some pet parents are taking on debt to care for their furry family members. Ted Linder explains why some are even turning to AI for help.
Most pet parents consider their animals a member of the family. But as vet bills surge, nearly half of owners nationwide are dipping into their savings to cover the costs. A new report by online vet care company Dutch found 75 million owners skipped or declined treatment for their animals in 2025 due to cost or access. Researchers also found 2/3 of owners cannot cover a $5,000 emergency bill without going into pet debt.
Even like cutting groceries in order to pay for vet bills.
Dr. Kate Eldon, chief medical officer at Dutch, said the rising costs of veterinary care can be attributed to higher levels of treatment and more advanced technologies. But with data showing the cost of care is outpacing inflation, 58% of owners are now turning towards artificial intelligence and other online forums for advice.
The most important thing is that there needs to be a veterinarian in that loop of care, being the one making the decisions.
Dr. Eldon says there are ways for pet parents to cut back on costs without sacrificing quality of care. More vets are starting to offer telehealth visits. And Eldon says utilizing virtual appointments can save owners up to $24,000 over a pet's lifetime.
So many of the general day-to-day questions that pet parents have can be solved through telemedicine. If we don't have enough information to make a diagnosis with telemedicine alone, our veterinarians are going to recommend that that pet be seen by a veterinarian in person.
Reporting. Now, insurance can reduce the financial strain of caring for an injured pet. Here's what you need to know. Pet insurance typically covers between 50% and 90% of eligible veterinary expenses. Visiting an emergency veterinarian can cost $100 or more just for the exam, but before your pet even gets seen or diagnosed. Coverage depends on your plan type, reimbursement percentage, and deductible.
Play ball, banana ball, that is. The world-famous Savannah Bananas are playing at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. That means a lot more traffic. What you need to know to avoid backups.
Also, keeping it clean. Earth Day is less than 2 weeks away. In our next half hour, a local organizer shares what way you can help preserve our planet. Here's a look at the winning lottery numbers right there on your screen.
Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Here's a live look at Chapel Hill from the camera at the Top of the Hill restaurant. The area is gearing up for big crowds this weekend thanks to a welcome attraction. We're talking about the Savannah Bananas. They're playing in Chapel Hill this weekend.
WRAL's Ali Katlabar tells us about the big crowds expected and the road closures planned around UNC's campus.
The town of Chapel Hill says they're preparing for 50,000 visitors this weekend, so you can expect a lot of people, traffic, and a lot of businesses showing their support. It's the Savannah Bananas' first appearance in Kenan Stadium, part of their Banana Ball tour. Both games are sold out, and the town of Chapel Hill says they've been preparing for months. There's expected to be extra traffic around UNC campus and downtown. Stadium Drive will be closed from Friday evening through Sunday. Businesses in the area are welcoming the Savannah Bananas and their fans. At least 30 are offering menu specials or deals. The town of Chapel Hill says they are ready for a lot of excitement.
It's like having a doubleheader football game that we have in the falls, but 2 days in a row, which never has happened. So this is the time of year where I think, we're a little bit slow on foot traffic, so we're really excited to have both those events.
And you can read everything you need to know and more on WRAL.com. Reporting in Chapel Hill, Ali Katlabar, WRAL News.
And of course, stick with WRAL News from 4 this afternoon until 7:30 this evening. We will have extensive coverage of the Savannah Bananas visit in Chapel Hill. Everything you need to know about traffic in the area to the basics of Banana Ball. Well, 3 new teams are joining the WNBA. The WNBA and NBA Board of Governors approving the teams in a vote last night, making the expansions official. The teams will be rolled out yearly starting in 2028 with Cleveland, followed by Detroit's team in 2029 and a team in Philadelphia in 2030. The league has been undergoing plenty of growth lately. The Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire will make their debuts this year, bringing the total number of teams up to 15.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we're staying on top of the latest in the war on Iran's parliament speaker said in a post on social media today that 2 mutually agreed upon points have yet to be implemented. That's a ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of blocked Iranian assets. He said, quote, "These 2 matters must be fulfilled before negotiations begin." And Iran has not yet said who it will send to ceasefire talks in Pakistan. Also, in a statement issued by the Iranian army, it said the U.S. and Israel will not be left unpunished for attacking their country. The army also said it will, quote, "deliver a crushing and painful response if Israel continues its attacks against Hezbollah and the Lebanese people." We, of course, will keep you updated on those negotiations as they unfold.
This is the time of year when we usually see our last freeze, and yard work is top of mind. But before you decorate those flower and gardening beds, check your mulch for ants. Asian needle ants form colonies in old wood, which is often turned into mulch. Despite their small size, NC State entomologist Chris Hayes says even one Asian needle ant sting is stronger than several fire ants, and warn they carry a higher than average risk for anaphylaxis. Hayes says the best way to prevent an infestation is to check before you start spreading the mulch.
If you go to a big box store and you purchase mulch, my recommendation is that you would inspect that mulch before you take it home, before you put it in your car, or at least before you put it on your house. If, unfortunately, you've already spread the mulch, go out and look around. Turn the mulch over. They oftentimes will nest just under the top layer.
If you do spot signs of Asian needle ants, such as larvae like this, remove the mulch immediately and contact pest control. WRAL's Grace Haba has been on a bit of a bug beat recently. Millions of acid-spraying ants have overrun Wendell Park. Now, NC State experts are getting involved to try to get that under control. She takes a look at the ants and the efforts to get it under control on the WRAL YouTube page.
Well, there are currently more than 60 active bird flu outbreaks in the U.S. As spring bird migration continues, wildlife experts warn cases could increase. Channelie Painter shares precautions farmers can take to prevent the disease from infiltrating their flock.
As the weather heats up, many species of birds are continuing with their spring migrations. But as they make their journeys back to where they started before winter, wildlife experts are warning about a potential increase in bird flu cases.
It is normally incubated in wild bird populations, so wild waterfowl flocks.
Avian influenza is highly contagious among birds, often spreading through contact with infected saliva or droppings. It can pose challenges to poultry farmers this season, especially folks with backyard coops, as migrating birds fly overhead and may land in yards for a visit.
If it gets in, then you will have to depup that flock because there's no cure for the actual virus.
The Department of Agriculture recommends farmers take precautions to prevent the disease from infiltrating their coops, such as washing hands and using boot covers before entering a poultry area. The agency also suggests limiting outside non-essential visitors, pests, and wild birds from coming in contact with flocks. Farmers should keep an eye out for common symptoms in their birds, which the USDA says includes lack of energy or appetite, low egg production, difficulty breathing, and sudden death. Still, experts say there is little evidence the virus poses major risk to people.
Great Raleigh cleanup, making Raleigh even more beautiful by picking up litter. Coming up, we'll tell you about an opportunity to not only beautify, but build community.
Also heading back to Earth, what to expect at each stage of tonight's splashdown for the Artemis II crew. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL News app on your streaming device. A new inclusive playground will open this weekend in Cary. The park was designed with several physical, sensory, and social experiences for children. The Davis Drive playground was renovated thanks to donations from a family. The project is part of the town's efforts to improve accessibility.
Work has started on Durham Tech's new affordable housing community. It will be a 124-unit building on property the community college owns along South Briggs Avenue. The units will house eligible Durham Tech students, their families, and others in the Durham community. Also happening in Durham, today is one of several free community days being hosted at the Museum of Life and Science. Each Durham resident can bring up to 5 children to the museum, but you have to bring proof of residence. If you can't make it today, the next free community day is Sunday, April 19th.
The return of the crew, and now you can watch the landing live.
Tracking training. A year's worth of classes paid off in 12 minutes. A canine officer located a girl who ran away from her family. The clue that helped reunite the family.
Small acts can make a big impact. That's the motto for a local Earth Day event here in Raleigh. And joining us to talk about it is Preston Ross III, founder and executive director of the Great Raleigh Cleanup. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you all for having me.
Earth Day has been around a long time. So what inspired you to start this organization about, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, I just really dislike litter and I wanted to do something about it. And I tell people all the time, when I set out to do it, it was just supposed to be a hobby. No intention of it being anything more, but it's since grown.
So how do small acts and making a big impact, what does that look like on Earth Day?
That means just being consistent, just doing what you can. Everybody wants to do something different. I say everybody can't pick up litter. Maybe you compost, maybe you recycle. Whatever your small act is makes a larger impact across the globe.
You know, we look around our community. We're very proud of it. Like you said, you don't like litter. Mm-hmm. What are some things that people can do every day to keep our Earth and our communities clean?
Just pick up one piece. You don't have to mobilize a whole bunch of people like I do, or, all of that kind of stuff. You can go right outside your front door and whatever you see in front of the house, just pick up the litter.
And, the important thing to note here is that, it's happening on one day.
Right.
But remind us why it's so important to continue this process beyond this just one day, 365 days a year.
Absolutely, because for people like me and environmental stewards like myself, Earth Day is every day. That's like saying I'm gonna get in shape by working out one day a year. It just doesn't work like that. You have to stick with it every single day. And like I said, small acts. It doesn't have to be anything great or grand. Just do what you can do in your local community.
So as you go around talking about your organization, what's your pitch to people? Because people go, what are you talking about? I clean up, but it's it's just more than that.
It is so much more than that. Because I tell people all the time, picking up litter is what we do. Building community is who we are. That's what we're set out to do, is just to bring people together. That's why we call this event Earth Yay. We need a little yay in our life. So that's what we want to do, is just bring people together.
So how gratifying is it for you on a day like when this happens, on that day, but when you walk around your community and you see people cleaning up without an event like this, how gratifying is that for you?
Super. It's just that people are taking the initiative and the ownership on themselves. I didn't ask them to do it. They're not doing it with another group. They're just going out, doing what they can do.
So where did this come from, you hating litter as much as you do, to prompt you to start an organization?
I've always been what I consider an environmental steward, and I always wanted to know, what can I do to help the planet? And a lot of things, kind of large scale, take quite a bit of money, but I was like, this is easy. I could go out and pick up trash. That's not hard.
Excellent. Well, the Great Raleigh Cleanup takes place next Saturday at Coastal Credit Union Music Park in Raleigh. There will be free morning movement, so don't forget your mat, followed by a cleanup of the amphitheater. Participants can hear from eco-experts and shop from eco-friendly vendors. Preston, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for keeping our community clean.
Again, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Renee?
Very inspiring. Speaking of inspiring, the crew of the Artemis 2 mission is homeward bound following their record-breaking journey around the moon. The crew is packing and reviewing procedures for their return to Earth. Now, in some ways, this is going to be the most dangerous part of their 695,000-mile journey. They're going to hit the atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour. The USS Mirtha has been deployed to meet the crew after their spacecraft splashes into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California. You can watch Artemis 2 return to Earth tonight on WRAL and the WRAL YouTube channel. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Tell you what, though, the past 10 days have been like moon joy, right? When they talk about it, just the joy that they spread from their interviews and everything that they're doing, and hoping for a safe homecoming. A lot of people will be watching.
Yeah, and it's up on our YouTube page. I did a podcast with Tony Rice, and it's very fascinating. I was telling you earlier, you grow when you're in space, 1 to 2 inches. So watch the podcast. It's really cool on YouTube.
Because gravity, I guess, shrinks us to our height. So when you go to space, you stretch out.
Yeah, wild
Fascinating.
stuff. Yeah, just a little more than 7 hours to go before splashdown. And one of the things that Tony and I were talking about is why they chose this particular location. It's because typically the weather is pretty quiet, and they can rely on that. Just off the coast of San Diego, about 80 miles off the coast. The cloud cover, there's going to be a little bit of cloud cover, not a big deal. The wave heights are going to be anywhere from 4 to 5 feet when it splashes down this evening. So that's pretty good as well. Not too bad. Hoping that it's a safe return, and I'm excited to watch our live coverage. All right, a couple of showers are possible Saturday. I know we need the rain. Don't get too excited. This is not going to be a big coverage event, and it's barely going to be anything at all. Warmer temperatures today and through the weekend, and then we get close to some record highs next week. We're back in the 90s. First, we'll talk about the rain chances. It is very minimal. This is Saturday evening, Saturday night, about a 20% chance of a stray shower. Not a big deal. A live look at Lake Gaston. This is going to be a popular spot this weekend, I bet. Folks getting their boats out. Earlier, I saw one parked here at the dock. Sunshine over Lake Gaston right now. It's 69 in Raleigh, 66 in Rocky Mount, 68 right now in Fayetteville. Hour by hour today, it's going to be warmer, 78 for the high temperature this afternoon. The azalea gardens here are in peak bloom, so try to come out if you can. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty crowded this weekend. It is gorgeous out there. But upper 70s today, this afternoon, and then this evening around 7 o'clock down to 71, and then eventually we cool down into the 50s around 11 o'clock tonight. So it will be pretty comfortable overnight tonight. The warmest we've been so far this year was back on March 11th. We almost hit 90. 89 was the high temperature. We do have some 90s in the forecast for next week, and some of the models coming in now indicate that it could be even hotter than these current numbers. So I'll meet with Mike Mays later on today and see if we adjust these numbers up a little bit. But check this out, 71's the normal. We get up to 78 today, 83 Saturday. We'll be in the 80s through about Tuesday, but then 91 on Wednesday, 92 on Thursday. And both of these days, the record is 92. So we're getting close to some record heat. Now, the normal first 90-degree day comes in May 18th. The latest was June 27th, the earliest March 12th. So this is coming a bit early if we do, in fact, hit 90. next week. It's going to be hot. Certainly warming up this weekend with highs in the 80s, just that small rain chance Saturday, and then it's just hot and dry into next week. Again, highs back in the 90s Wednesday.
All right, Amy, thanks. A nose that knows. A K-9 cop locates a little girl who was missing for hours.
How Rex helped bring the stressful situation to an end.
She's good. This is Rex.
Time in court in just over an hour. Matthew Vukmer is now being held in jail in Orange County after he was extradited from Grayson County, Virginia, where he was arrested. He is charged with first-degree murder. Orange County deputies say Vukmer stabbed 54-year-old Paula Floyd. A motive for the killing is unclear.
2 schools in our area went into lockdown because of threats today. East Gardner Magnet Middle School was under code red at 7 o'clock this morning before the school day even started. Gardner police say a man with a gun in his hand was seen near the school, but he did not approach school grounds. Police say there's no threat to students or the public. Green Hope Elementary also are operating normally after code yellow this morning. It's not clear why that school went into a code yellow lockdown.
A backup on I-40 in Wake County has cleared. This was at mile marker 287 near Harrison Avenue in Cary. Part of the westbound side was closed because of a crash. The road was cleared 1 hour after that crash.
Who says third time's a charm? A K-9 hero located his missing child on his first try. This happened in Colorado. A 7-year-old girl ran away from her mother at a park because she did not want to leave. The child's parents spent 2 hours searching for her, then called police. Rex and his handler showed up and went to work. A quick whiff of her sneakers, and Rex began pulling the deputy. Rex led them to a nearby backyard where they found the little girl unharmed. The search lasted just 12 minutes. Rex completed his tracking training last year, and this was his first case. Bravo, Rex.
Our pet of the day is a laid-back dog from the SPCA of Wake County. Aries is a 5-year-old male dog. He weighs 62 pounds and has extra toes on his hind feet. We know we can't make a statement like that and not show you. All right, so count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on both paws.
Oh.
Yeah, this can be caused by a genetic mutation, or it could also be an inherited trait. It's not considered a problem unless it catches on to things. Aries is a playful boy, loves rolling around in the grass. He loves going on play dates with other dogs. Aries' adoption fee is $120, which includes his neuter, microchip, vaccines, and other wellness care. Contact the SPCA of Wake County if you would like to meet him.
Oh, what a cool-looking dog. Well, coming up on WRAL News at 4, military strike plan. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren claims no American president has ordered more military strikes against as many different countries as President Trump. We fact-check her statement today at 4.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update is in 30 minutes.
Well, of course, you can get breaking news and updates anytime on our WRAL News app, as well as the WRAL News Plus. Have a great day and a great weekend.